Hello and welcome to the Morning Post, sponsored by Racing Post Members Club. We've got a big day for you today. We've got the best of both worlds over jumps. We've got the flat finishing at the end of the season, the flat with the November handicap. We've got some Grand National fences and we've got a cracking panel to get stuck into all the action, starting with Robbie, the ante-post man.
Thank you very much,
Wilders.
mate. Yeah, good to be here.
Back in form as well?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Started the season well. I think I touched upon the show when I was last in. I sort of prefer punting on the jumps.
Yeah, unfortunately that was the one nobody could hear.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you can
that
say
was an
again.
absolute nightmare, wasn't it? Let's hope that didn't happen again, because Aidan Coleman gave me some lovely insights, but no one had a Scooby what he was saying, apart from us two.
Exactly, yeah. But you've banged in a couple of winners since then.
Yeah, it's going well, mate, yeah. Excited for this weekend as well. It's a few decent puzzles, I think. So.
Yeah, excellent. And we have Irish and international handicapper Johnny Pearson on the show. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be here for the first time.
Looking forward to it, yeah.
Hopefully we can find a few more winners to carry on a good week we've had.
Absolutely. Now, you're Irish hand. We have actually got a job still going for a handicapper, haven't we?
Yeah, I hear that is the case, which means I've got more work coming my way in about a week's
will
time.
you be doing the interviewing?
No, unfortunately not.
So if any viewers are interested in that role, do check out the Racing Post careers website.
Absolutely.
Because we're open to new applicants.
Absolutely. If you think you know what you're doing, you could one day find yourself in the unfortunate position.
Yeah,
of
it's
sitting
not
next to me
that hard either. I've done it for a few shifts. So
It's very hard.
it's not hard at all.
Part-time job, loads of money. That's the thing. Right, and in the interest of safer gambling, we've got two Johnnies on the show today. We've got Mr. Johnny Dineen. How are you?
Good, Paul. Yeah, good, very good. Yeah. Looking forward to
How's
today.
your form, Johnny?
Not great. A sticky patch now the last couple of weeks. Losing this week and I lost last week. So, but my look all along wasn't too bad. But no, just going encountering a difficult period, playing against the wind now for the time being. But look, hopefully I can turn it around maybe this weekend. Although this week, the racing today, I've seen better Saturdays, but hopefully we might find something at the same time.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, right, before we go into the paper roundup, we've got a special guest on the show. We've got assistant manager Nigel TWISTON-DAVIES. We've got Willie TWISTON-DAVIES on the road, on the way to Aintree, I believe, Willie?
Yeah, on the way to Aintree. Looking forward to today. Some good runners, fingers crossed.
Another cracking start to the autumn for the yard. Loads of winners.
Yeah, lots of winners. Horse running well. So.
Do you always try and target the early part of the season, or is it just that they'd come to hand early year after year?
They've just come to hand early. Exactly, they're fitting well, and hopefully they'll last out for the season.
Right, now we're going to just go through some of your runners today, if you don't mind. We're going to start with the national fences, because I can't imagine there's a yard with many yards that have won more races over the national fences than yours. I made it 12. And didn't actually
No,
ride
exactly. Looking forward to it's Al-Kabi, who he stays well, jumps well. He's very talented. We think he's on a good mark. He was fed in the shallow hurdle a couple of years ago, which is obviously a grade 1. So up 132, it looks very lenient. I think he's a good price.
Yeah, and he goes well fresh, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He goes very well fresh. He's been quite a fragile horse to train, so we're going to try and limit his amount of runs.
He'd be
but
young.
he'll have a great chance today.
He'd be younger than most of the horses you've run over the national fences, would he?
Yeah, definitely. He is younger, but we've schooled him over the national fences at home. He made some big ones and he jumped them very well. No, we're very optimistic of a good run.
Right, and you've got a short price favourite that opens up the ITV card, but that's at Wincanton. Tedley, 2 from 2 since going over fences, jumps really well. Yeah,
Tedley's really come into himself this year. He jumps very well. Jamie Brace gave him a very good ride. I thought at Wetherby. He rides him again. Fence in the making of him, so hopefully he'll win again.
Yeah, it looks a tricky little race. He's gone up £6, hasn't he? And obviously Jamie can only claim 3 today, so it's a bigger ask, isn't it?
Yeah, but I thought he won with a lot in hand at Wetherby. Jamie never really got stuck into him at all. So no, we're hoping we're still on the right side of the handicapper.
Right, okay. We've got you've also got another favourite at Aintree as well in the Pertemps qualifier, Guard the Moon.
Guard the Moon. His work has improved no end this year. He actually won his 3 races last year, but this for whatever reason, this year he's bigger and stronger, working very well. Step up to 3 miles will suit. I'd like to think, he's probably one of our best chances of the day. Yeah,
he's a half brother, a Potter man, isn't he?
Yeah. He's one of the Potter's horses. Yeah, latest Potter man. They've bred him. We really like him, and he's improved. These Pepper's Moon seem to be getting better with age.
He's quite he looked like quite a slick hurdler for a 3 miler as well last time, didn't he? He's pretty quick over him, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good. Actually, last year he raced very lazily and behind the bridle, and this year he just seems to be working better. Everything's been better about him, so we think he's well handicapped.
Right, and we've got a couple that are, say on retrieval missions. We've got Uncle Bert. Now, what's happened with him chasing? Because it hasn't worked out so far, has it?
Yeah, Uncle Bert is ideally first time was just a learner sort of thing. 2 miles and quick ground wasn't ideal for him. James Turner thought he was doing a half speed when he decided he wanted to go left-handed at Carlisle. So back left-handed today, hopes of much improved run.
And Strong Bell, it's an outsider at Wincanton.
Yeah, Strong Bell's got an each way squeak. She worked very well earlier in the week. She needed the run at Stratford. She should have stepped forward for that. But it's quite a competitive race.
What about the ground? Because she's pretty handy on soft ground, isn't she?
She's very versatile ground-wise. A bit of digging the ground would be ideal, but there's not a problem with quick ground either.
Right, looking ahead, Willie, what have we got next week at Cheltenham? Have you got anything lined up that you're looking forward to in the bigger races there?
Potter's Chance having an entry on the Friday. Obviously, we need some rain, really. It's good ground. Looks like it's drying the whole time. Master Chewy will have an entry in the Schlur. We'll have some bobs, but I'd say we've got 7 runners today, so probably won't be the busiest Cheltenham I've got for us.
Right, get you. Well, Willie, we're looking ahead. Broadway boy, how is he? Ran well on his return. Was big ask in that handicap off a big weight.
Yeah, he'll definitely strip fitter for the run. The Hennessy's always been the long-term target for us. The Coral Gold Cup, what it's called now. He looks like he's near the top of the market. I'm sure he'll have improved a lot for that run, and hopefully we get some rains before digging the ground, and he'll go very well.
Excellent, good stuff. And I believe Johnny, our handicapper, wanted to ask you about one particular horse from Ascot, like the other week.
Yep. Hi, Willie. I was at Ascot on Saturday, and I thought Clap of Thunder ran very well. You know, it wasn't the strongest race, but couldn't have been much more impressive with how he did it. So I was wondering how highly you might regard him and what plans you might have for him going through the season.
Yeah, we've always fought a lot of Clap of Thunder. He ran in a lot of competitive bumpers, and he's always going to improve. He's a very, very big horse. He just needed the run first time, won well at Ascot. He's going to have an entry for Cheltenham next week in the 2 mile novice, not Ascot, Cheltenham, in the novice handicap 2 mile. They give him a mark at 120, which looks very lenient.
Cheers. Thanks, Willie.
Excellent, superb. Willie, thank you very much for coming on. Have a great day today. I will catch up with you for a beer at some point in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, boys. Have a great day.
Good luck, mate. Right, we move on. I believe it's the papers. Papers are coming in now, I'm told. Here we go. Drink it in, the Badger Beer Chase at Wincanton. One of the big races of the year for the early jump season. Price-wise, and Paul Keeley, look, I get on the front page. Premier League sizzlers, a couple of footballers I couldn't name.
Oh, you could.
Right, here we go. Pritchard's Claim could be the clincher that gives advantage to top weight dancer. That is a preview of the Badger Beer. Big day for great supporters. McLennan's with top hopes Lord Accord and Mofasa, and the Smart View card there. That is another preview of the Wincanton race. And there is the Smart View card where Lord Accord, my fancy too, gets a 93% rating. Very well handicapped on old form despite 2 wide margin wins recently. Good Luck Charm bidding to repeat win in race that's rewarded Honeyball backers.
That's actually an error in the headline. Shouldn't say it, but
what is it?
Good Luck Charm, isn't it?
Oh, it's Good Luck Charm.
Good Luck Charm, yeah. Because I wrote that preview, and I had to.
You didn't write the headline then?
No, I didn't. No, because I had to talk myself out of writing Good Luck Charm.
Who have you just got sacked?
Well, let's not name names, crap. I nearly did name his name. Let's not name names, Paul, but I'll tell you off the air.
Right, okay. Right, I think he's very good indeed. Pauling going head over heels about handstands. Handstands makes his debut in the Rising Stars at Wincanton. First time out over fences. They do not have good records first time out in that race. And here's the big man, price-wise. Everything's right for fast improving Minstrel Knight. That's Tom Siegel's. He's got 2 in the November handicap. Adjuvant being the other one. And at Aintree, he tips Gaborio for Josh Guerrero and
Oliver Green.
Oliver Green. Well, that's what I can't remember that. Right, a few discussion points here. We had the King George entries earlier on this week. 24, I believe, entered into it. Any surprises?
There's a couple from Willie. Fact of Fire wasn't entered, and I think that surprised a few people. But I don't think there's too much, debate over who is and isn't in there. You've got
always fascinates me when it comes to
novice. What was the novice one there? Ile Francais in there, obviously, which is hardly a surprise.
Yeah, always always staggers me when it comes to entries. I wonder how much owners' money is wasted on entries on horses that have no intention whatsoever of running. I mean, you can tell by the fact, Galloping de Champs is 10-1.
Yeah, he won't be running, will he?
He's not going, is he?
He's running an island again,
He's not
isn't he?
going. Like,
Especially Mullins, he just makes it so hard for ante-post punters.
Year in, year out, we have entries, 4 races, and you think, why is that in there? It's definitely not going to run, and they never do they? But no, LA Francais is favourite. We've also got Gaelic Warrior. That's the one that we don't know whether he's going to run. I spoke to Joe Chambers last week, and he said he was going to. They were going to have the discussion when they were out in Melbourne. I don't know whether they were happy to talk about anything else after Vauban flopped again, because it's quite a costly trip, isn't it?
Yeah,
to go over there.
So.
But yeah, they think he's a champion chaser, but he could go 3 mile, and he has won over 3 mile.
Yeah, he's interesting. Just having a look at that, I thought the one that might be overpriced was Banbridge. He was as big as 20-1 when I looked at the race earlier in the week. I don't know if that's still around, but I mean, he's got plenty of speed, but he also stays quite well. I think that sort of test could suit him.
Yeah, I've been quite a fan of Banbridge for a while. I mean, thing with me with Banbridge is one, well, will he stay? But the other thing is he's proper ground dependent, isn't he?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got half a chance of getting it on Kemp's on Boxing Day. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
the ground.
that's true. Johnny, was there anything you saw amongst the King George entries that piqued your interest, or was it just what you sort of expected?
I suppose the big talking point was the fact that Fast or Slow wasn't entered after the connection saying that was the race he was being targeted at, and the idea that he's going to be supplemented, that possibly be supplemented after running in the John Durkin. I mean, if they had any intention of running him into King George, you'd imagine he'd be still in it, because as you say, there are so many wasted entries in these races that these kind of owners aren't worried about of putting in an entry, even though they are very unlikely to make that engagement. So I don't think it was the cost of making the entry that probably preempted not putting him in. I'd say the fact that they haven't the notion of him running is why he's not entered, and he probably won't turn up now. For a horse that was 4-1 second favourite and was reputedly all ends going for this race, it was a bit surprising that he wasn't in it.
Yeah, I mean, I find that happens year in, year out. There was a big Irish horse that says we're going to go, and then suddenly they don't turn up for one reason or other, don't they? It does seem to happen a lot, doesn't it, in this race?
Yeah, look, it's a pity that the King George seems to have. It's a bit like its flat counterpart. It seems to have lost its appeal, and I actually think the King George is like, bar the Gold Cup, it's probably the second most prestigious race of the whole calendar. But a lot Irish trainers in particular seem to ignore it now, or ignore it to a lot of the time. It's not every year they even send a horse to the King George, and maybe there should be more. Maybe there should be a Triple Crown invented, where the King George, the Gold Cup, and maybe the Punchestown race, and you get a bonus or something, because.
Well, there was a while ago, years ago. It was a Betfair bonus. It was a Betfair Chase, the King George, and the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and obviously Quarter won it the first year, and I think it got dropped after that.
Yeah, but I think maybe the Betfair Chase, they could drop that thing and maybe start with King George, go for the Gold Cup, and finish in Punchestown, and maybe the 3 tracks contribute to it or something like that, and maybe have a horse racing or a jumps equivalent of a Triple Crown, because. The King George at the minute, the last few years, there have been some good winners, but there have been some questionable winners at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Right, in talking of wasted entries, Johnny, is Willie Mullins pulling the wool over everyone's eyes by putting Ballyburn in hurdles?
Look, I don't have the inner line, so I don't actually know. But again, look, these guys, as you say, they just throw away money in entry wise, and like most of these trainers that block into races, like if it was their own horses, they wouldn't be entering them at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's easy to throw away big owners' money. They're probably not even keeping an eye on this kind of thing. Like, as you say, Galloping de Champs entered in the King George. Not in earthly will he be there. You know what I mean? Not a prayer in the wide earthly world will he be there. But like that costs money at the same time.
Right. So, but how much chance do you think there is of Ballyburn taking up these hurdle entries? Everyone thought he was going novice chasing.
Yeah, look, I suppose the fact that the races are only around the corner and he's been entered for them, it must be a very live possibility that he is going to start. Like it can possibly start over hurdles and still still go chasing at the same time. But I'm guessing, it's only a pure guess, at the minute, his first run this year will be over a hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, you would be really surprised if he went down a champion hurdle route. We know how good he was over hurdles last year, but obviously they've got Stateman and Lossiemouth being aimed at the champion hurdle. Do they want a third one?
Yeah, look, maybe he go down the route of a stairs hurdle horse. I don't actually know. I mean, there are probably plenty of races like the Hatton's Grace and maybe the entry race, 2.5 mile, or maybe the stairs hurdle. There are plenty of races he could win, like by avoiding the champion hurdle even. So it's a possibility. I thought he was. I would have said he was a banker to go down the Arkle chase route, but it's possible that he's not.
Yeah, I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me thinks he's got these entries because he can't jump.
Yeah, maybe so.
We better stay over hurdles, lads. He's walked through about 8 at home, What do you think? Where's he going to go?
I don't know, mate. If I owned him, I like to see novices being bold campaign there. I'd just run him against seasoned chasers. If he can jump, as you pointed out, maybe he can't. But obviously, like when one of the first sort of big things I enjoyed watching racing was when Coney Gree won the Gold Cup as a novice. It probably wasn't even that long ago, really, was it? But I mean, like that sort of bold campaigning can pay off, because I often think it's a bit of a waste of season if you're so far ahead of the opposition.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to see him do. Just see how he gets on and against these.
That won't happen.
No, it won't.
Really
Will it?
not in a million years.
Be nice to see.
Right, there we go. We get stuck into the action after this. Right, here we go, the meaty part of the Saturday morning action. We're going to get stuck into the previews now, starting with the Pertemps Network Handicap Hurdle. One of these qualifiers. It's got to finish in the first 4 these days, lads. Short price favourite in Guard the Moon. Mr. Handicapper, what do you say about Guard the Moon?
I think he's the most likely winner of the race. He comes here fit, he's in good form. You look back to his run in Hexham earlier in the season, I think he had Boomslang behind him that run, which is, I think, Rebecca Menzies, who's now rated a stone higher than he was that day. Obviously, Guard the Moon's rated higher now as well. I can see people making cases for the likes of Harbour, is it Harbour Lake? Yeah, Harbour Lake and Bold Endeavour. But I think they're both going to need the run. Harbour Lake, I've never been fully convinced by that horse. Bold Endeavour is even more unknown. First run since moving from Nicky Henderson to Laura Morgan.
Back to Laura Morgan.
Back to Laura Morgan even.
Did win 3 races for her in the early part, then.
But how often do people improve horses that have come from Nicky Henderson?
I mean, obviously, big fish in small pond. There was a horse that won this race a few years ago that had gone from Willie Mullins to, I can't remember who, but literally would have been 4 to 1.
Or something like
would have been 4 to 1 had he still been trained by Willie Mullins and went off 80s and won.
Yeah, I remember
it, whether it's this race or the December meeting.
With Ritchie.
There was one of those,
yeah. I wouldn't keep, for me it's more of a red flag if the owner's lost faith. And they've just, but it's the same owner, so it's just a change of scenery. And I've rated Laura Morgan for a while. I think she's pretty good. Her strike rate, and that's pretty good. She's not had that big race winner yet to sort of elevate her CV. I'm sure she's desperate for that. But that was my selection. I'm a little bit alarmed that he's drifted out to 18 to 1 because it could just be a spin round to try and get qualified.
Yeah, I mean, my original selection was Guard the Moon. I'm not going to go for another one now, but he was 7 to 2 when the decks came out.
Yeah, he's a shorter price.
You know what I mean? He's gone an awful lot shorter. What do you make, Johnny? Would you take him at 13 to 8? It's getting a bit short now, isn't it?
No, look. I was interested to hear what Willie TWISTON-DAVIES was saying there about him. Guard the Moon is a different kind of a horse this year. His work's much better. He's a much stronger horse. And like originally when I saw him first, like I have a few bad memories of Guard the Moon back in him last year. Skinny prices getting beaten in ordinary races too. Like it definitely wasn't the heartiest of characters. And anything that put it up to him, he bailed out and he got beaten at definitely under evens or less twice anyway in ordinary novice hurdles. After getting the run of the race as well out in front and everything, he lost a terrible bad race one day. I think it was in Bangor after getting the present of it, and he still couldn't win. Now saying that, his runs this year are he looks a more solid horse, and you'd have to give you'd have to believe that what he is actually saying is right, that he's a better horse than he was last year. But I still wonder about him though, if it gets down and dirty. And the two horses he's beaten this year, Long Draw and Boom Slang, is a horse that had to go to Downpatrick to win a novice chase. It should have won in some place up the north there lately because it jumped out to its right at every fence. But apart from that, it would have won. But like, they're not great horses at the same time. Either Long Draw or Boom Slang. And okay, he's down with a 10 stone 6, but they're getting 8 pounds off of Harbour Lake, who's been running in better class races. He'd be the one I'd go for, assuming he's fit. But originally I didn't fancy Gardamoon at all. But listen to what Willie TWISTON-DAVIES is saying, and the fact that he has 2 runs, and it is possible that he has improved and straightened up from last year. He probably is the horse to beat. But I'd say it's possibly between him and Harbour Lake, but I'd have a slight preference for Harbour Lake, maybe.
Right, great, Johnny. Thanks very much. We move on. We've got a very arguably one of the most competitive races of the day coming up now. The Richard Barber Memorial Mares Handicap with Pretending Head in the market. Very interesting running here that I'm just going to talk about before we go in. All the Glory, who I put up earlier on and I backed at 8 to 1. 2 firms, Betfair and Paddy Power, pushed them out to 25s, pushed her out, sorry, to 25s and 22s yesterday afternoon. And they got filled in slowly because it went 25s, 20s, 20, 18, 16, 14. Other firms went out to 12s because they were so big. That's the best backed horse of the race, 6 to 1. What were they up to?
I have no idea, mate. I mean, they've obviously...
It was like 8 to 1, 8, 9 to 1 with everybody.
Yeah,
and
strange.
suddenly they were 25s.
I don't know. They obviously had an opinion that something they didn't fancy her at all. But much like yourself, I do fancy her. I was on her at the start of the week at 14, so I was happy. I was obviously worried to hear the drift, but now she's come straight back in, which is good to see. I think she's got a bit of class about her. She proved that at Newbury in that Grade 2 novice handicap hurdle, won it by absolute miles. She's only £6 higher. Form tailed off a little bit lightly a bit after that, but she's probably just best fresh really. Her record says that. She's won off a couple of 3-month breaks in the past. She's off about 4 months off here. Surface to suit. It's been you read the stable tours to sort of find out where horse is being aimed, and this has reportedly been the target. So
I've got a mate who looks for the stable tours for the ones that aren't mentioned.
To me, that's always a red flag.
Well, I tell you what,
years
and years ago, we had a John Joe O'Neill stable tour, and I got a text from a mate. He says, "Why isn't Exotic Dancer now?" And I'd never even heard of Exotic Dancer at the time.
Yes.
Right? This ex-French thing, and look what happened to that. You know what I mean? But you know. The conspiracy theorists, if he's not in there, they're hooking it and laying it out for something.
As if they're telling the reporter to leave this one out. I just think it's more of a reporter error.
You know, some of them they give you really good insight though as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's more like it's just useful to know what sort of targets they're looking at for that. It's extremely helpful for ante-post betting, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny, who did you like here?
I mean, I can see the case for All the Glory, but I think Mermaid's Cave is massively on the improve since switching to James Owen. Had a hat-trick, won at Bangor the other day. He's got Callum Pritchard taking 7 off, which, you know, he's going to have to take the horse will have to step forward again. But I don't see any reason not to. If you watch the race at Bangor last time, he's out the back. The horse who's finished second has made all the running, had the complete run of things. So it's actually, I'd argue it's more impressive to come from the rear in that situation. And he looked like he won with a fair bit up his sleeve at the line. I think there's much more to come still from this horse.
Do rate old James Owen as well. He's a
very good trainer, isn't he? Very good trainer.
Both codes.
You know, he's going to make a big name for, isn't it? Under both codes.
I mean, all the Gredley
Absolutely.
horses.
Johnny Dineen, I cannot imagine this is a race you're going to be punting in.
No, but I tell you one thing I was interested in is I read the Racing Post this morning, and I always find it what the trainers say about the horses is very interesting. And there was like 1, 2. I'm just looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses. Like quotes from seven about 7 horses from 6 different trainers. I think Honeyball is 2. Like Ollie Murphy, Space Voyage, Good Luck Charm, Pure Theatre, The Height of Fame, Larchman Lass, Strong Bell, and Mabel Noir. That's 7 horses. And if you're reading those comments, none of them horses will win this race. Listen to what they're saying. So, like that makes it less of a puzzle than I actually originally thought. So I'd say the winner will come from Pretending All the Glory Maids. Cave looking at this, and like you definitely wouldn't. If anyone reads that Racing Post on page whatever it is, page 6, and go and have a look at that race, you wouldn't be enthused about any of them trainers are saying about those 7 horses. So what is in the race?
How much store, Johnny, do you put into what the trainers say?
I think nobody wants to be made look like a fool on a trade paper at the same time, Paul. You know what I mean? I'd say that like the notion of I'll write down that it's had a setback and then we'll back it off the board. There's 1 in a million trainers doing that. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I'd say what they say is what they actually think in the bulk of their comments. There's very, very few trainers going to deliberately lie, I think, and be made look stupid on a trade paper. So I'd say what they're saying is right, and if they are saying right, none of them horses will win.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, a couple of them are outsiders. I just seen Ollie Murphy said, she's got an each-way chance.
Yeah.
Because she was the other one I backed, Space Voyage, because she was third in the race last year, and she's £5 lower, and she's got,
But I mean, to me, if a trainer's given a quote, he can't absolutely say it has no chance. Like
absolutely, yeah.
Like a bit of an each-way chance is as close as you get to saying.
But when you've got a 20 to 1 shot, you are, as a trainer, you are not going to say, I think this is a certainty, are you? Because you're more than likely going to look silly, aren't you?
Like, but even Largemont Lasses only say 5 to 1. Like, she's fit and well. Ideally, to be at her best, she needs the ground to be a bit softer, but she'll have a chance. I mean, that doesn't smack of a 5 to 1.
No, that's not confident, is it? No,
exactly.
That is not confident.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can say any more than Ollie Murphy said about his horse.
No, I agree. I mean, like any fella saying that he has a 28 to 1 chance, I can't see it getting beat. They wouldn't even print that rubbish. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? They just ignore that quote. Like, but
hang on a minute. You see, I don't know how this works because I've never done this, right? So what happens if we got quotes from everybody else, and all of those quotes were really rubbish?
Well, then you'd probably just have to leave the race off. Then, to be honest.
Yeah.
I assume that pretending and all the glory and Mermaid's Cave would get likely more positive reviews than some of the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, which one are you going for?
I'll go with the safest one, Pretending. I'll go. It has a recent running in the stable. I like that stable, Lucy Bottom. Fairish outfit for a person that doesn't have that many horses. Yeah. I'd maybe chance that.
All right. Well, I'm going for All the Glory. I didn't get any of the 25s, unfortunately, but I'm happy enough with a chance, and I don't actually think she's bad value at 6s. Right, we move on. Where do we go next, lads? Where are we? We are 223. I think this is only the second novice chase this season with 5 runners in it, as many as 5.
Yeah, that was pretty grim yesterday.
Captain Teague was impressive yesterday, wasn't he?
I mean, I'm trying to handicap them. It's a nightmare. It's got 2 runner fields.
What mark are you giving that?
They've knocked.
What mark are you giving that one yesterday?
160 maybe.
Captain Teague, walkover, 40-gram race. Walk past the post, that's it. 2 non-runners. Terrible, really. This is invariably a good race, the Rising Stars, Grade 2. And a warm favourite in handstands. Overrated so far or exciting? How are you looking at it, Johnny?
A mixture of the pair. There's not a chance I'd be entertaining backing him at 13 to 8. I'm not convinced by his hurdle form last season. I don't think it's that strong.
Yeah, so that's why I asked the question, because he's basically won 3 Mickey Mouse races and then finished tailed off at Cheltenham.
Yeah, he ran okay with, what is it, form with the Janko something.
Sydney Banks.
But I'm not convinced by his hurdle form. He's not been over fences yet. Okay, he might be flying at home, but we're very much taking it, at the trainer's word, and how often do they tell the truth? They're not going to say, he's jumping through every fence and hitting them all and falling over every day. So I mean, for me, Soul Icon looks hugely overpriced. He's top rated in the race on official ratings. We've gone top with adjusted Racing Post ratings. He's finished second on his last 4 starts, but he's not been beaten further than a length in any of those times. So he's the one that, he's got the form in the book to be that's actually there, rather than chancing they're priced up on potential rather than what they've actually done. Whereas I'd rather take the bet on what they've actually done.
Absolutely. Johnny Dineen, what do you say? Because obviously we've got a big quote in the paper. Ben Paulin obviously really loves this horse. Handstands, how do you see him?
Yeah, look, I kind of agree that his form, like, you could pick holes in it for sure, but I don't think these are wonderful horses at the same time. And I do really rate Ben Pauling. I think that's a proper outfit, and it's a proper outfit on the way up. And I really like the jockey too. I think that's going to be a major strong combination going forward. The fact that he's going straight over fences in a race like this, as deep as this, you'd imagine that, like, if there was any kink in his jumping, they'd have gone for it, probably an ordinary novice chase or a novice's handicap chase, something like that. It's a statement of intent in my eyes, anyway, that they're dipping their toe in here. It's only 5 runners at the same time, so it's not going to be like a really, like, it's not going to be a real helter skelter of, even though there'll probably be no prisoners taken. But you need to do things right to win. Even though I do think you're right about it's slightly overrated horse, but I don't really rate the other 4, to be honest. Insurrection won a race in Exeter last year, where I heard the jockey said afterwards that his wind wasn't great. I've been watching him ever since, and the following day he ran in a race in Sandown. He was all over a winner, and he carved up on the run from the last. He threw away a race that he should have won. Like he had it won all ends up, and he hasn't been winning many races since. It's his 8th time in a row winning it, or his 8th time in a row with a tongue strap on. Like he had to go to Hereford to win at the end of last year. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't trust him. Like any horse with wind issues is never good news. Soul Icon like's been second too. I don't know. I never really rated, like, Sure Touch, Raffle Ticket, Outlaw Peter, that kind of form. I wonder would that hold up against these kind of horses. Boom Bond is a solid horse, good jumper, but and Glyn has no chance. I'd fancy Handstands. If Handstands is any kind of a horse, he'll tear these asunder, in my opinion, anyway. But, like, the way the man is talking about him, he does rate him, and I'd be surprised. No, I'd be disappointed if I owned him and he couldn't take care of these.
Absolutely. Right. Okay, Glyn has no chance. Poor old Glyn. He's in the Rising Stars Novice Chase. He actually had an entry in a veterans race as well this weekend. He's decided to go for this one. I'm going to put a case forward quickly for Insurrection. Trained by Paul Nichols. First of all, he's won the race 11 times for a start. It's like a statement of intent when he runs one here, isn't it? And he follows exactly the same path as Nappers Hill, who last year finished second in that good race at Chepstow. Insurrection was second to Springwell Boy, who is probably a good £10 better than him over hurdles. I thought it was quite one of the few horses of Nichols that week that ran well at Chepstow as well. So that would be mine against the possibly overrated Handstands. Robbie?
Yeah, exactly the same line of thinking. He's £15 higher over hurdles Springwell Bay. I think if he didn't jump the last, great. It might have been a bit more interesting as well. Yeah, as you say, they've been needing the runs of Nichols horses, so I'd expect a big effort here. He could have aimed a lot of horse at this race. He's had the odds-on favourite in it 4 years in a row, so I think this is significant. He's picked him. I mean, with Handstands, yeah, sure, he could blow it all apart, but you're happy to let him do that 13-8, really, aren't you? There's no juice in that price, is there?
No, not really. Be interesting to see what way he goes in the betting. I can't have him at 13.
That's too short.
Just watch him. But yeah, if I was out, I'm not really itching to have a bet. But if it was, it'd be an Insurrection.
All right, there we go. Right, we're coming up to one of the big handicaps now. I believe here we are. Yes, and Dalco Bihu is now Fav for the Boyle Sports Grand Sefton Handicap Chase. National fences might not be as big as they were, but they still provide a great spectacle. I'm going to go Johnny Dineen first. Johnny, any thoughts on this race?
Yeah, look, I like the look of what's he called? Sorry, Harper's Brook.
No.
I just think, yeah.
No, you're having a laugh.
Yeah.
Well, please give us a case then.
Everyone's favourite dodge pot, Harper's Brook.
Yeah, look, he is a dodge pot, but he's like, it's not as if he's like 7-4 or 2-1. He's like 14-1 in a race like this. I just think that he's left Pauling, he's gone to Dan Skelton. So it's not to change a trainer or anything like that. It's more maybe a change of scenery. I noticed he's had wind surgery, which might have been holding him back, and the fact that these new fences might just invigorate him. I think this is probably his trip. He is a good jumper, so I don't think the fences hold any fears for him whatsoever. And look, I just think he has a chance. I wouldn't even back him each way. No, I wouldn't even dream of backing him each way because he could do anything in the race. But he is a horse with a lot of ability and plenty of talent to win a race like this. And he might just put his best foot forward. And again, 14-1, it isn't a heavy fine if he's pulled up after 3 fences or anything like that. He runs terrible, which it is. That's in his locker too. And throwing away winning chances is very much in his locker. I mean, he's thrown away some horrendous races like that.
That's got to be the worry, isn't it? The running for Harper's Brook.
Well, it's going to be
Aintree. He needs a fence on the line, not 2.5 furlongs away from it.
Yeah, he's going to have to be delivered late. But he's got. But I suppose the jockey knows him at the same time. And for people that betting and running, he's never going to be that short in running. He'll be 1 to 2. And he'd be 10 yards to the line, 12 lengths in front. Do you know what I mean? He's one of our parts. Do you know what I'm saying? You're never going to lay him that short unless the race is won. So I wouldn't even bother doing that. But look, I just think if he did happen to do things right, 14 to 1. First time out, I always think too when trainers get a horse off of someone from someone else, they want to make an instant impact, and today might be the day to catch him.
Right, fair enough. Right, I've made the case that Dale could be who in the paper today. I was a little bit surprised to see him fav though, to be honest. Like, it's just 6-year-olds only run 4 times over fences. Once they start getting short, I start finding the negatives rather than the positives, even though I've backed him. But he does go well fresh, and I do think he is potentially well handicapped. But how do you see it?
Yeah, he's definitely got a chance. The one I liked, I'm sure Johnny would tell me he's got no chance, is Authorised Art at a massive price. Top weight here. He's got a nice claim run in Caelan Quinn. I rate him. Yeah, he's a bit like we were talking about Bold Endeavour earlier. He's left the trainer. He's left Willie Mullins, which is, it's probably not ideal, is it? But I thought that he shaped pretty well on his debut for Gary Moore last month, over 2 miles against Roubaud. That's not his sort of test at all.
Yeah, he actually ran quite well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he stayed on quite well. If he didn't show any promise in that, I'd probably be looking elsewhere. But according to the stable tour, he has been aimed at the race. He's never jumped around Aintree, but he is a good jumper. He's never fallen before. He just likes good ground, prominent racer.
I mean, horses rarely fall in the national fences anymore.
That's
anyway,
true, yeah.
They're small. The only thing about them, because they're different fences and they're not used to them, they can get a little bit spooked by them sometimes and just not take to them. But I don't think, it's not the jumping test it was, is it, Johnny?
No, it's not. I mean, you saw that in the Grand National last year with, what was the winner? The Willie not Willie it was Iron Maximus winning. He was the best horse in the race.
I watched that race the other day because I was looking. I tipped Eldorado Allen ante-post for this, thinking they'd got to run it here because he jumped so well. And I was watching the race. Iron Maximus jumped terribly all the way round, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, I think he kept on winning going right-handed and hadn't been one left-handed or something. But it's just the class horse in the race, and you just need class more than anything now over those fences. Having said that, I mean, Robbie said, Johnny Dineen said he'll have no chance. I've gone for the complete outsider with Vintage Fizz. I think he's just well overpriced here, and I think he's got a good chance of running for a place. He's disappointed over 3 miles, a couple of runs back. He's back down in trip last time, ran well. Back over the same trip. He hasn't been over the fences, but so they're not that much of a test compared to what they were. But I think his form is. It's up there with the rest of them, but it's just whether some of these are a bit too classy for him. But I think the price looks far too big.
That's weird, isn't it? We've got a race over the national fences and no love for any of the market leaders, really. Here we go. So let's talk about a couple of them. King Turgeon, David Pipe, absolutely gagged up at Chepstow last time. It was a bit of a bolt from the blue, though. It's not like it was an unexposed horse beforehand, but he didn't half jump well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's gone up a fair bit for it, though, isn't he? £9, I think it is. And this is going to be a harder race than that was as well. And also, early season jumps for him, you're never quite sure how fit any of the horses are, which makes it a bit more of a puzzle to try and find the winners.
Yes, if I was looking at another one, Richmond Lake could be interesting.
Well, that's the other one I've backed.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Because he won on absolutely awful ground at the December meeting there. It was there were hardly any finishes. It was a day like Pembroke won by about 200 lengths.
Yeah,
I think it just bottomed him out for the rest of the season.
I think we're banking on that being the case, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're backing him, but he made a lot of ground from 3 out to 2 out in the Topham last year, and then just got knackered after hitting another fence. He did not jump well over them. Yeah. Well, I've taken a chance at being fresher because he's not normally a bad jumper. No. But he didn't jump particularly well in the Topham. But he did make a huge amount of ground from after jumping the third last, going to the second last, and then made another mistake. Knackered. That was him. He was finished. But he did show some aptitude. He's on the same mark as when winning so easily. So I see him going well. Gaborio, that's Tom Siegel's tipped that. How do you see that? I mean, Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero won the race with Jeskill, obviously. Bringing another one, targeting it again.
Yeah, he's obviously got a chance, but I mean, I'm not convinced by that horse myself. I think the interesting one potentially is Frero Bamboo for
No, he's not interested.
for Venetia Williams.
Doesn't win races.
She had the winner at Ascot last week. Was it Martyr? So horses are hitting form at the right time. But you know, there's a lot of P's and sixes and whatnot by his name. So it's
Well,
hard to, and the ground's
he's
another
just
one.
a frustrating character. A friend of mine said to me one day, he said, when are they going to try with this horse? And I said, what you want to ask is, when is the horse going to try? Because that's the problem. He doesn't want to win. He really doesn't want to win.
If he puts it in,
even Harper's Brook tries more
he's
than
got
he
the class, but it's just whether he puts it in.
Harper's Brook been beaten 1.01 twice in his career. Odds on him running 5 times in his career, according to Time Forms data. Just to scare Johnny a little bit. In case he didn't know, I'm sure he does.
Anything else? Anything else, Johnny, in that race that you?
No. I'll be trying to talking it to Harper's Brook. I wouldn't sleep if it hadn't something on him anyway. If he won, you know what I mean, that kind of way. I think he will win one of these races at some stage.
Right, there we go. Right, we move on. We better move on anyway. Here we go, the big race, the Badger Beer Handicap Chase at Wincanton. Lads, I backed Lord of Cord earlier in the week. I think he's probably priced as he should
Same
be
here,
now.
mate. We had all the same selections this week, haven't we?
You present the case.
Because he was 7-1 at the start of the week.
That's right.
And I didn't think the Changing Man would run because he was jocked up twice at Exeter on Friday, but he's obviously turned up here. I mean, he's £8 lower than when he was a really good second to Frodon 2 years ago, as you well know. It would have been interesting if he didn't get the last a little bit wrong as well. He was miles clear of the third that day. He completely tailed off after that, but his last 2 runs have been really impressive wins. One over hurdles, one in a chase, 16 lengths. He's just backfiring all cylinders. I think he's a fair price now though. And the one that I was looking at last night was Forward Plan, but he's also come in a little bit. We know Anthony Honeyball likes to target this race.
He looked like a non-stayer last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I'd probably say so, yeah.
This tends to be quite a war of attrition, this race. They tend to go quite hard, don't they, in its early season. If you're not fully fit, you get found out. The amount of non-finishes you get in this race is quite staggering over the years. Lots of pulled-ups, you know. Yeah,
it is surprising because it's always basically run on quick grounds. I mean, last year it was slightly slower, I think. And Forward Plan actually was running last year from £7 wrong. Because
good to firm when Frodon won it.
Yeah, it was good to firm 2 years ago, yeah. And in Forward Plan, it's just got loads of good form in top handicaps.
He has since that.
Yeah, since then.
Poor run.
And when he won at Kempton, the ground was nowhere near it was soft ground, was nowhere near as bad as what they said it was. So I think he'd be the one now, but actually he's come in as well. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Lord of Cord.
Absolutely. 2 wide margin wins and still turns up £8 lower than 2 years ago. What do you reckon, JP?
I mean, the dangerous news for anyone watching is that I've also come down on Lord of Cord. If you look at the adjusted Racing Post ratings, we've got £4 between. You've got the Lord of Cord on 161. The next 3 we've all got on 160. So it's a competitive race. But you know, you look at the Changing Man head of the market. Wind up won, tongue tie first time. Do I really want to be chancing that? Probably not. And at 7-2, I definitely don't want to be having a bet on that, especially coming off a break. You know, Lord of Cord's going to be
wasn't
race.
Wasn't a bad run. Was he second to Stay Away Faye first time out last year?
He's got good form, don't get me wrong, but there's enough there that's putting me off backing him at a short enough price in a race this competitive when you got Lord of Cord flying at the minute. Okay, not the best races, but still doing it, taking everything in a stride, and I think that's the way to look. Yeah.
You got to respect the Changing Man, ain't you? Because if he just couldn't breathe properly last season and he bounced back to that Stay Away Faye form, then he's got a massive chance, hasn't he? But yeah, you're not necessarily willing to trust it at those sort of odds. There's no real each way sort of interest there.
Excellent. Right, Johnny Dineen, anything here for you?
Look, I think the Changing Man is very dangerous. Look, he has, as Robbie said, he's had the wind surgery. That could be a help. Like, he had good form last year, dividing Stay Away Faye and Grey Dawning, like first time out in Exeter is good running. He looked like being a goodish novice chaser last year, but he never really came to fruition what he could possibly do, and he's back here now after break. Stable's going well. I think there's a lot to like about him. He in the great price, not to be fair now at 7-2. Like you are taking it on trust that first of all he's going to be fit, and the second of all is that the tongue strap is going to help him because he definitely wasn't really finishing races last year. I'd say he could well be a class above him, but you want to back him at 7-2 or not. It's the only horse I'd consider backing in the race at the same time. I do think the rest of them are are like tightly knit, and he could have after his rating, he could have a class edge over these, but it's a question of whether you want to pay the price to pay at 7-2. I'm not so sure that I would. I'd pick him now, but without really wanting to take my hand out of my pocket at the same time.
Getcha. Right, fantastic. Right, we move on. We are going to finally kick the turf flat season into touch with the Virgin Bet November handicap. No more flat racing on turf for another 5 months. Good news for some, not so much for others. Robbie, you're a big flat fan.
I prefer the flat, but I'm better at the jumps. So
right.
It's sort of bittersweet for me.
So when you're better, does that include punting as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't you prefer the jumps then?
Because the
financial.
Because I don't. Yeah, I know. Well, it's more like from a sort of racing fan perspective, the flat, because I don't like the narrative of the jumps just looking so far ahead all the time. Like when as you know, it gets sort of draining talking about Cheltenham for 5 months, doesn't it? That's why. But I grew up preferring the jumps. But yeah, I'm liking the look of this race, Kills, to be honest.
Right, what do you like in it?
I like Waxing Gibbous. Come in, I'm not gone yet. Yeah, I like Waxing Gibbous.
You've got to
show my hand.
You've got to get your punting done early.
Yeah,
mate.
I know. Yeah, well, I was too busy watching horror films last night. Waxing Gibbous.
Horror films.
Yeah, she. If she wasn't coming here off the back of a disappointing run at Newbury behind Not So Sleepy on his sort of swan song, she'd be probably favourite, I reckon, because that was such a good run at Haydock in the old Borough Cup behind what's the horse's name? He ran and everything. Epic Poet. She was the only horse who raced prominently that day who didn't fall out the back of the telly. Pulled well clear of the third. She's up £4. If you take the view that the Newbury ground was just a little bit too, I mean, it's horrible ground, and it's going to not be as bad as Doncaster, is it? It'll be a bit soft, but it's not going to be
I'd imagine it's going to be quite sticky, actually, because it's been soft and stayed soft for ages without rain. So
tacky,
proper tacky. It'll be hard work, won't it?
It could be, yeah. But she's dropping in trips, so that sort of alleviates that concern a little bit down to mile 4. I think maybe if you just sort of play her a bit later, hold her up, that might be able to see her to best effect. I like to see her riding differently. She's got a good claim on as well, so ticks a few boxes, I'd say.
Johnny?
I thought the best form coming into it is that of Miller Spirit and Flash Bardot from last time. I think Miller Spirit probably slight edge. I mean, it's £4 worse off against Flash Bardot, but the way he travelled, I mean, they both travelled as well as anything, cleared eight lengths clear. He just looked like he had a fair bit up his sleeve at the finish still. And he's got a number of ones next to his name now, and I think he'll win. But I mean, I'll probably play the reverse forecast with the pair of them here.
Reverse forecast, wow, bold.
Wow, right, Johnny Dineen.
Hello,
Johnny Dineen.
Yeah,
You won't be watching. You won't be watching this. You won't be betting in it, and you don't care.
No, I do. I like to look. I like to look at this race. I could see Master Builder having a good chance, and that race that Johnny was mentioned there, Miller Spirit and the other one there, that was an amazing race in Newbury. And so far as 2 horses come up the straight there, hard on the steed, and it was like a question of which one was going to crack first. I could see Miller Spirit having a big say in this race too. I was impressed with that, and he's gone up. I know he's gone up a bit, but he's a fair horse at the same time. But maybe Master Builder with the Buick on it too, and he's nicely down the weight. He has soft ground form from earlier in the season. Plenty of form in these kind of races. He's a hardened horse, and I'd rather a horse coming back in trip here that's proven over the trip than is something like Valvana, who's trying 1.5 miles, and maybe Stress Free. I think is another one that's going up in trip on this kind of ground. It's a big ask to go up 2 furlongs on really bad ground and actually expect to get it or be as good as you are at the shorter distances. So I'd be looking for one with guaranteed stamina, and for that reason, I'd just go Master Builder over Miller Spirit.
Right, there you go. Well, my selection in this race was Chillingham. I've been trying to win a race with him all season. I'm sure he's got one in him if he wants to put his head in front. He'll have no problem with ground, trip, etc. But it's a hard race. And there we go. There's your previews. More after this. There we go. We're sticking with Johnny Dineen. Johnny, give us a couple of winners in Ireland this weekend.
Difficult. A lot of low grade stuff. I kind of like to look at Nara in the first race if that fall didn't affect her from Sligo. But I thought the rest of the race was trappy. There's probably better bets tomorrow in Naas. I like the look of Zargain in the race, the 4-horse race, the Fishery Lane Hurdle, and the last favourite belonged to Gavin Cromwell. I think it's called Lewin Shad. Those two look winners, and maybe Ballybrack Wood in the first race. But today, barring maybe Nara, I didn't see that many opportunities in Gorn.
Well, I get you. That bad, is it? I know somebody who has got an opportunity in Gorn. It's our Irish handicapper, Johnny Pearson. He mentioned one to me earlier on.
I'm sort of with him. It's sort of not the best card, and what two he mentioned tomorrow, I think, are the two of the most likely winners on the card. The interesting race, it'd be interesting to get Johnny's thoughts on it too. It's a 2:12. I think Adrigal is, he's the top-rated horse for me there, and he should run well. But you've got the Gordon Elliott horse, which who knows what's going to turn up there. But you've got work ahead for Henry de Bromhead. He's won a point-to-point by 8 lengths. Haven't seen him since, and we don't really know how good he could be. But the third that day is now with Jenny Candlish, and sort of rated 120 now. So it's like how good is that piece of point-to-point form? The market's not missed him, but I think he's potentially a very good horse there. So it's one to definitely keep an eye on.
Johnny, opinion on that?
Has there been money for work ahead? I wasn't aware of the betting patterns this morning. You just said it was money from Johnny, yeah?
I thought it was about 7-2 last I looked, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. Look, I don't know a lot about him. Only guessing game, same as most people that don't actually know the inside line. The one thing I'd be worried about work ahead is he's missing a while. He missed over a year, and I have a feeling. Now, it might be. Look, it's a pure guess that if he was a really good horse, they wouldn't be running him on this kind of ground. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
You're not really seeing the top horses just yet in Ireland, or maybe in England in a lot of races too, for that matter. Like, I just wonder, will he be down along the pecking order a bit if the fact that he's even running here, you know, kind of way. And if they do let him take his chance, it would just signify to me that he ain't the top drawer horse. I don't know anything about him. His point-to-point form is probably good. Like, in running in the colours, he probably cost plenty of money as well. They probably paid plenty of money for him. But he is missing a year. And it's not a great race, though, because if he is a good horse, he'd hose in a race like this, because these are very vulnerable. Adrigal is just a horse. He ain't a bad horse, but he'd be vulnerable in any kind of company going forward. Do you know what I mean? And he won't get many other better chances to win a maiden hurdle for a while. And the horse, I like Adrigal. The Elliott horse doesn't look a gale of wind either. Like, if Work Ahead is a good horse, he'll win. But I just wonder if he was that good a horse, would he be running at all at this time of the year? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Right, Johnny, I'm going to stay with you just for a minute, because big news is you are returning for Upping the Ante on Tuesday. It comes back. Now, we were talking about Cheltenham bets earlier on. I don't want to tell me what they are. Will you be putting anything up for Cheltenham on Tuesday, 6 p.m, up in the Ante?
I'm not so sure about that, Paul. Is the Willie Mullins stable tour, that's not out yet, is it?
Not yet, no.
Nah, just not yet.
I think I'll probably hold fire until I see that. I kind of like a few horses, but I'd like to see that they're alive at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And that they're not injured or anything like that, and see what he says about them. If they have if they're in training and they're due to run, because most of these horses won't be risked on this kind of stuff just yet anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I probably won't put up much until maybe I might consider doing something for maybe the Mayor's Chase. I'll have a look at the prices for that race, but that's about the only race I'd consider at the minute anyway.
Right, don't worry. Don't forget to tune in to Up in the Ante, 6 p.m. Tuesday every week. Looking forward to Cheltenham all year long. We know that's what you love, even if it bores the pants off some people this far out. But yeah, it's a very popular show, and Johnny will no doubt make you laugh as well. Right, one more segment we have. An ante-post look at the Paddy Power Gold Cup meeting next year, but instead of doing the big race, we've decided something different this time. We're going to have a look at the Unibet Greatwood Handicap Hurdle, for which Dysart Enos is a favourite. Burdett Road is slowly edging towards favouritism. I think it'd be about 9-4 on a day and win by about 8 lengths myself. But I've banged on about him for ages, so let's go to Robbie Wilder.
I read your piece in the Big Jump Off, and I thought he's made decent case here, to be honest. Like,
I'm very good at making a good case. Getting them over the line's another matter.
Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah, telling me. But I thought the case was spot on. Like, he's improved an awful lot on the flat for James Owen. Like the 2 mile hurdling scene, it ain't great, is it? I mean, obviously, the market tells you Darcy Ellis is the one to fear because she's a top class mare, and as it is on good mark, I'd have it as a shootout between those two at this stage.
But the way I look at it is a 109 flat horse should be borderline 150 over hurdles, and then he's got 133. And it wasn't like he was no good last year.
Nah.
It's just, he wasn't getting home because they were fighting him. But if they let him go,
yeah, what would
That's a big if, though, isn't it?
any of these 110 lengths?
I think they're going to let him go. I think they wanted to let him go at Ascot, but he missed the break, and then he couldn't do it there. But and then the jockey said straight after he won at Newmarket, "This is the way to ride him."
Yeah, that's pretty telling. I mean, and a lot of these won't probably not necessarily going to run, are they? We know he's going to run. They've made it clear that's the target.
But we're talking about potential, and potential is what it is with Nice like Enos and Burdett Road. You must have something. You must have something further ahead in the ratings.
I mean, I was interested in any harm in asking for John Joe, but I've read the stable tour the other day, and he's actually going to Haydock a week later, by all accounts. But another one that left Ben Pauling in the same colours as the Skelton one that's running today, Harper's Brook, is Tell Her the Name, and I think that's potentially a very well handicapped horse still. It'll be the first run for John Joe, but you read the stable tour, he seems really keen on the horse, and what's the price there? 14 to 1. I can't imagine it'll be 14 to 1 on the day.
Absolutely, Johnny.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That was the one I was kind of half favouring. Tell Her the Name. It definitely there is a bit of an upside to it, the same way there is with Dice Martinez and probably Burnley Road and Beer. Look, there's quite a whole host of unexposed horses. That's what this race is all about. There'll be something put its head above the parapet here, and you'll be looking at something that's maybe bordering being champion hurdle horse maybe and the back of this. So
yeah, and you need to be rated 140 to get a chance in the champion hurdle these days if Constitution Hill doesn't.
yeah, but it will be something that is better than a handicapper win this, and there are 3 or 4 that kind of fit that bracket. Tell Her the Name was quite a good novice. I think good ground is quite important to him though, very important to him in fact. And I think if the ground got slow, I'd be against him. But if the ground was good, and I do think one thing, it's massive when horses change stables. Definitely the new trainer always invariably wants to make a strong impression first pop. And I'd say he won't be any fitter in the Great Wood Hurdle than he'd be any other day in the season.
Brilliant, fantastic. Right, all we've got left now is the naps. Here we go. Look, I've got one we haven't mentioned. Killer Kane.
Oh, I like him as well.
In the 109 at Wincanton. I just think he's absolutely lobbed in on his best form, and I actually think he doesn't really want 3 miles, even though he has good form over it. So he's back to 2.5 with a decent claimer on, and I think Tedley's got a big ask with a claimer not being. He was the only claimer last time. So he's taken 7 off, but this time he can only take off 3 against other people who can claim any £6 higher. So I think he's got enough to do, and I just think on old form, Killer Kane is very, very well handicapped for a stable in form.
Callum Pritchard started well as well, that young jockey, and he's got the blinkers on. Joe Tirzard's record's all right with horses in that it gave the first time. So yeah, totally agree, mate.
Excellent. You were waxing gibbous
waxing lyrical about waxing gibbous.
Yeah, absolutely. Guard the Moon, Johnny Pearson. See that 6 to 4. And Mr. Meggitt. Tell us about Mr. Meggitt. He was your nap of the day in the paper today.
Yeah, look, I'm surprised he's kind of weak in the betting, which is definitely concerning for a horse making his seasonal debut and hurling debut. But he looked a very smart bumper horse, and look, I'd ignore his run in the entry bumper. Like he went off quite short in that, and he probably wasn't intended to be as short as he was, but he got knocked down everywhere he went, and it was a rough enough race. And I just would think that he's getting weight off our horses here that are no superstars, and I'd be surprised if he didn't win this. But the unease in the market is slightly discomforting at this point in time. I wouldn't like to see him go to 2 to 1 at the same time now, whatever way you think about it.
Right, getcha. Okay, Johnny, there we go. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on, for spending the entire hour with us, and thanks guys as well, Robbie and Johnny in the studio. Thanks for watching. We will be back next week. Have a good day.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers, John.
See you, lads. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate.
Cheers, John.
Bye.
Nice debut, mate.
Is that all right?